What's going on, you guys? Greg from GK back again after a 2-week hiatus to talk about a viral topic, something that's taken the internet by storm. It's all over YouTube, and that is Conor McGregor's potential comeback at 170 pounds and the fact that he looks just absolutely jacked right now. It looks like he's put on about 25 to 35 pounds of muscle. It's all over YouTube. People are doing videos on him left and right. More plates, more dates, did a natty or not on him, and the conclusion was, of course, that he is not natural. Joe Rogan had Derek on his podcast, and the conclusion was more or less the same. It was a bit tongue-in-cheek with Joe Rogan saying that Conor looks like he would piss straight through the USADA test cup. And Conor himself indirectly admitting to possibly doing whatever it takes in order to heal his injury, and therefore having to be out of the USADA testing pool when going at Joe Rogan's neck, because I guess he was offended by what Joe Rogan said previously about him doing steroids. So I want to talk about Conor's comeback because naturally people are extremely excited. I mean, I can't blame anybody for being excited. Conor is a superstar. That much is clear. He is the UFC's #1 cash cow, more so than anybody in history, more so than George St. Pierre, John Jones, Khabib, and even Ronda Rousey. So him coming back is a huge, huge deal. But the main topic of this video is going to be my opinion on his comeback, and my opinion is as follows. Conor will never, ever, 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 ever be good again. And throughout this video, I will explain why. You can agree, you can disagree, but it's simply my opinion. So first things first, let's just talk about the way Conor looks right now. He looks stupidly jacked. He looks like he put on about 20 to 30 pounds of muscle, and he has claimed that he wants to fight at 170 pounds for that very reason, like I mentioned. Now, it looks good on Instagram when he's taking these snapshots of, him flexing and just standing in front of the mirror, standing on yachts, walking around without a shirt on in his bar for whatever reason. That's all well and good, but is that amount of muscle mass actually good for him as a fighter? In my opinion, absolutely not. And that's the first reason why this comeback is absolutely not going to work out for Conor. So Conor is a small guy. He's 5'8". He started his career at 145 pounds. And, he just doesn't have a large frame. If you see him next to guys of similar height, but at higher weight classes, he is much, much narrower. For instance, Tyron Woodley or like a Yoel Romero. They are absolutely not built the same. Conor simply doesn't have the bone structure for 170 pounds, in my opinion. And putting on muscle is absolutely not going to change that. But what it will do is give him even less cardio than he had previously. Right? And that has never been a strong point. So that's going to work against him in a major, major way. And of course, he's not getting any younger either. He's 34. He's going to be 35 or 36 when he decides to come back, when he's actually, able to come back, because he does have to do those 6 months in USADA's testing pool, as we recently found out. And that right there is reason number 2. He's too old. I mean, he's fighting in a smaller weight division. This isn't heavyweight where your career kind of starts at 35 years old. He's going to be a welterweight. And, welterweight, lightweight, featherweight, all of these divisions, once you hit 30, it's pretty much all downhill because your reflexes begin to diminish, your speed begins to diminish, and your stamina, of course. And Conor always relied on his reflexes and his speed to be the fighter that he once was. The other reason why 170 pounds is simply not going to work for him is because at the top, I want to say like 5 is full of really, really good wrestlers, and that's Conor's weak point. Conor is not going to be able to do anything against the Hamzat Chimaev. He's not going to be able to do anything against the Kamaru Usman unless these guys decide to stand and trade with him. And even then, I'm not convinced that he'll be able to do anything against them on the feet, because his power, as we found out, did not translate to 155, the way it was at 145. I mean, he was just knocking people dead at 145, and he just was not able to do that at 155 pounds. And he's especially not going to be able to do that at 170 pounds. And I would wager that his power will actually be diminished, because due to the added muscle mass, he is going to become slower. He's going to become a lot less explosive, and that's where your power comes from. And his timing will probably be affected as well. Reason number 3, and this might be a controversial one, but I'm just going to say it anyway because in my opinion, it's kind of obvious. Conor doesn't lead the healthiest of lifestyles, and I think that he's broken his body down almost at like a cellular level by the way that he's been living. He is pretty much an alcoholic. I'm sorry to say, but that's just shit is shit. It is what it is, judging by his Twitter posts, his Instagram posts, and there's a lot of rumors that I tend to believe just based on his erratic behavior, based on the way he's visibly aging in his face, and just based on, the people I've been around, just throughout my life that have done this consistently. I think it's pretty obvious that the guy's a cokehead. Sorry. I mean, it just is what it is. And being on drugs is definitely not conducive to being a great fighter. And the fourth and final reason why Conor's comeback is not going to work out, well, simply because he is not obsessed like he was back in 2013 or 2014 with the sport of mixed martial arts. He was the one to say it. He clearly said that he pretty much lost his mind to this game, and he wasn't going to stop until he had everything he wanted. He got everything he wanted now. Now he's just resting on his laurels. And he is a fighter, so he's always going to have that itch, but I do not believe that he has that focus, that laser focus, that absolute obsession that he used to have in order to become the best. I mean, if you guys remember, mixed martial arts was all he thought about, was all he talked about, was all he dreamt about. Back then when he was chasing Jose Aldo, for that title. And he's just simply not the same guy. He has way too much going on. It's pretty similar to what happened to Ronda Rousey as well. Once you start becoming ultra popular, you become this megastar, you start getting these crazy endorsement deals, you start getting all these opportunities. You just spread yourself too thin. You cannot be as good of a fighter as you were before. You just can't. And Conor was never the type of fighter that was, just super skillful. He was skillful, don't get me wrong, but what really made him special back then was his laser focus and his determination, his obsession with the sport, and his just psychotic belief in himself, and just belief in what he was going to accomplish. I don't believe that sort of thing can even be recreated. I mean, that's just a moment in time, a moment in his life that just happened to coincide with him being in the UFC. It was just magic, and that kind of thing doesn't happen twice. Lightning never strikes twice in the same spot. And Conor will never be that fighter again. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. And, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Tell me if you think I'm right, what your thoughts are on Conor personally or on his comeback specifically. And especially tell me if you think I'm wrong. Tell me why, because I really want to see your perspective. Because I'm convinced that there's no way that anybody thinks that this comeback is going to be a success, but I'm willing to be surprised. So, yeah, I'll see you guys soon.